Hi, everybody. This is Brian Beecher. I'm your chess club advisor for college for beginners and intermediates. Thanks for joining me today. We had a great class today. As you know, we meet in the library from 2 to 3 p.m. on Thursday afternoons, and we're starting a new chess skills workshop that I'm putting together. I am by no means an expert in chess. I'm okay. I'm not great. But I have a lot of passion for chess, and I hope that that by playing games with you, and that hopefully we can learn from each other, and I will share my knowledge with you. I know we have a lot of beginners in our class, so hopefully this series will bring many of you up to speed pretty quickly. What I'm going to share with you, I'm calling it a master class. It's by no means a master class, but what I'm going to share with you basically are some chess skills that I've learned over the years. I've been a chess club advisor since about maybe 2006, 2007 at various colleges that I've worked at. And let's just get started. I hope this is useful to you. So some general skills on how to improve at chess. When studying and playing chess, find a quiet space free of distractions so that you can concentrate. That's it's pretty important to not have a lot of distractions. Develop a regular daily schedule that you can devote to your chess development. Try to do it every day. Decide how much you want to spend on chess every single day and try to stick to it. I keep a journal so that I can keep track of what I'm doing. And I try to at least spend 30 minutes a day, if not a little longer than that. I've seen some different coaches out there give advice on what to spend your time on every day. Try to divide your time into chunks, or you can spend your time doing different things. Some of them suggest maybe a quarter of your time on instruction. So that might be reading a book. We have a lot of great chess books in the library. Come to my office and I can help you figure out which books to check out. There's a lot of great YouTube streamers out there. I've watched many people like Levi Roseman. He's fantastic. He's Gotham Chess. I watched Ginger GM, who is Grandmaster Simon Williams. I've watched a lot of Eric Rosen videos. Daniel King, he's a Grandmaster. He's excellent. He has Power Play Chess. He does a lot of videos for Chess Base. A lot of its trainers. Another one of my all-time favorite instructors is International Master Andrew Martin. I've watched many of his DVDs, and I highly recommend him. Another person I just think is fantastic is Susan Polgar, another Grandmaster, and she was an Olympic champion in chess. Just fantastic. Chess Talk is another fun channel to watch. Same with Chess Vibes, that's by Nelson Lopez. So check some of those streamers out. I highly recommend them. So a quarter of your time, like I said, on instruction, either reading, watching YouTubes, maybe watching a Fritz Trainer DVD, other things like that. But make sure you pay attention to openings, middle games, end games, strategies, that sort of thing. Tactics especially. This is the next part. Try to spend a quarter of your time on tactics training, a quarter of your time playing a game, and then one of the most important parts that I find very useful is spend a quarter of your time analyzing games. That's a lot of times the part that I miss out on or I forget to do, but you can learn a lot of things through analyzing your games. And I'm going to actually show you how I've been doing that. It's not probably what a lot of coaches would recommend, but it's very helpful to me at least. Like I said, analyze every game that you play. Spend around 10 to 15 minutes per game analyzing it. Obviously, when you become more advanced, you're going to spend more time analyzing your games. You may want to put a database together, whether you're playing online like on Lichess. I play on chess.com, but either that or download your games into a database. I use ChessBase, which is a fantastic tool. It's kind of expensive, but I highly recommend it. And you get that through the company ChessBase, which is in Germany. So make sure as you're reviewing your games or analyzing your games, you annotate them. Write notes, especially when you're talking about the important moves or tactics, combinations, your plans. What are you thinking when you're playing a game. Make sure you put those notes in your annotations, and I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty easy. Especially look for blunders as you're analyzing your game, and set a goal for yourself not to blunder anymore. I would do blunders all the time. I have like 3,700 games on chess.com since 2008. There are so many games with blunders. Try not to blunder, and I'm going to have a checklist for you that will help you from making those severe mistakes or blunders during your chess play. Make sure you watch the clock. I can't tell you how many times I have lost on chess.com. One of the reasons my rating is so low, I think, is because not only because I'm not that great of a player, but because of the amount of times that I run out of time. I have a job. I have a couple jobs. I'm a parent. I have a family. And how do you make time for this all the time to play? Well, you got to keep up on it. And I'm trying to do better. But family comes first. If you're playing rapid and you lose 3 games in a row, take a break. I've heard that so many times. I think I just heard it recently from Ginger GM. That's Simon Williams on one of his podcasts. If you're playing rapid, you lose 3 in a row, take a break. It could also have been Eric Rosen may have said that too. But then after you take a break, go back in an hour or go back the next day and play again. Always come back, but get a fresh perspective. Andrew Martin has said that too in some of his DVDs. When you lose the passion for chess, take a short break and then come back. Also, good players learn all aspects of the game, not just one aspect. So they learn the opening, they learn the middle game, they learn the end game principles, strategies, tactics. I was just watching a video commentary by, what's his name? Darn it. It's the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer is about him. His name is, I'm blanking right now in his name. But anyway, he was talking about how he is so good at end games when he was young. And a lot of times he would win the games because he was stronger in end games than his opponents. So make sure you learn everything you can about the game. Before you play every move, these are some things that you should look for. I hear this all the time on YouTubers: checks, captures, and attacks. This is for both you and your opponent. The first thing you should do with every move is look for checks, captures, and attacks. Also look for hanging pieces. So those are your undefended pieces. Look for hanging pieces for yourself, and also look for hanging pieces for your opponent. Can you or your opponent be put in check? Look for that. Look for forcing moves and combinations to improve your position. Also, before you play every move, look to see what is your opponent trying to do. What did they wish to accomplish with their last move, and are they attacking anything? If they're attacking something, you need to defend it, or if it's a powerful piece, pull it out of the way. What is your plan, and what is your opponent's plan? And also, you need to look at the entire board. This is something I have a problem with all the time. Look for attacks that could come from open files or diagonals. Your bishops may be coming in from across the board. I can't tell you how many times I would lose a rook because of a fianchettoed bishop on the opposite side of the board. They might move a pawn that might threaten my queen. All of a sudden, I move my queen, and boom, they grab my rook. Happens all the time. So look at the entire board, especially for long-range attacks, especially from rooks and bishops. Know what the pieces are worth, and only exchange pieces when there is a valid reason in doing so. Levi Rosman has said this so many times in his streaming. Why do us younger players or us beginners, why do we exchange pieces so often? There's no reason to do that. I remember him even saying, look, they just swapped queens. If grandmasters don't do it, you should neither. I think that's a direct quote from one of Levi Rosman's Gotham Chess's videos. So if grandmasters aren't doing it, we shouldn't do it either. When we plan ahead in material, playing against a stronger player and your material is equal, then exchange. And I have an example in this video that I'm going to show you of when I did that. I traded off queens very early, and I'm going to show you why I did that. Normally, I think it might not be a good thing, but in this case, because of the situation I was in when I was playing a player that was over 400 points above me, I needed to simplify the board very quickly to bring it into an endgame so that I had a better chance at winning, because my skills are just not that of a 1600 level player. Also, when we're down in material, avoid exchanging pieces. In the example that I have later in this class, I'm going to show you exactly why you shouldn't do that. Develop pieces toward the center of the board. That's where a lot of the action happens. That's where a lot of our pieces, like knights, for example, have a lot of attacking power. So develop your pieces toward the center of the board. If your opponent attacks from the flank, so that's the sides, then try to move and attack towards the center. If your opponent attacks from the center, attack towards the flank on one of the sides, and preferably the side that the opposing king is on. And then if you know what a pawn chain is, that's like a long diagonal of chain of pawns. Try to attack those at the base so you can just pick them off one at a time. That's very helpful in, when you're close to the end game. And if you're ahead in development, do not trade queens. That's something that I'm always nervous about my queens, or about my queen, or losing my queen. So a lot of times I will trade it off. The different YouTubers and masters and grandmasters are saying do not do that. Rooks need to be connected. So what that means is on the back rank where our king is, a lot of times we need to castle the king and then make those rooks connected without any pieces in between. That's very important. Put rooks on open files and or double them up. So both two rooks will be on one open file. I think my example game has that in there. Rooks on the 7th rank or the opponent's 2nd rank during the end game. This is very dangerous. It's been referred to as pigs on the 7th or rooks on the 7th. It probably has several names, but the game I'm going to show you actually does that, and why that's a good thing, because you can pick off a lot of the pawns if they're still in that rank. Don't lock your bishops behind pawns. I do this all the time. Do not do that. Bishops work better in open positions, not closed positions. So that means if there's, we want to have nice open space on the board and in the middle of the board. If you have a black bishop, try to put your pawns on white squares. That way your black squared bishop has a lot of power and a lot of range to move. If your opponent is spread out, localize your attack to a specific part of the board. If you control more space on the board, it will be easier for you to move your pieces. So that's important too. And another thing I learned, I'm just trying to learn more about fianchettoing. They're saying do not fianchetto unless necessary, or if you are playing a King's Indian opening. That is for us beginners. They're saying not to fianchetto unless you really can master what a fianchetto is and the best way to utilize it. So here's a quick little blunder checklist. So before each move, look at the entire board again for checks, captures, and attacks. Ask yourself, can I be checked or mated in the next move? Do I have any hanging pieces? Those are those undefended pieces. And if I do have hanging pieces, try to protect them with another piece or a pawn or something. Ask yourself, can I be forked, skewered, discovered attack, etc.? Those are the tactics that we'll be talking about later. The example that I have at the end of this video, I believe, has a couple of forks in it. So yeah, look for those types of things and prevent that from happening to you. Ask yourself, is my king safe? And or do I have an escape square? Is my king safe? That might mean, is it castled on a safe side of the board with pieces to support it? What are the consequences of my next move? When I move this piece, how is my position changing? And what does my opponent, how is my opponent going to react to that? And after you've actually moved, not actually after you move, but before you finalize that move, think to yourself, what is my opponent's best move? What are they going to be doing? And should I be stopping that or protecting myself? Or is there some way I should be attacking them instead? A couple of final thoughts here. Do not resign or give up. I know I get frustrated too. I'm not that great of a player, but I love the game, and sometimes I give up, so I resign. There's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't resign. Sometimes your opponent will blunder. This has happened where I'll be way down in material, looks like I'm going to lose, and then sometimes they'll hang their queen and I'll be able to pick the queen off. It has happened. So sometimes your opponent will blunder and the game could suddenly be turned into your favor. If you can't do that, then try to get a draw, either through a stalemate or some other means. You could come out with where there is no winner. You may learn something later on in the game. Like I said, maybe they will blunder and you'll pick up a tactic, or gee, had I just stayed on a few more a few more moves, this would have happened. I can't tell you how many games I've quit and then looked at the game later. I'm like, oh, I should have stayed in. I could have won. So another reason not to give up. Or just make a goal to survive 5 more moves. I think I got that one from Andrew Martin. Don't give up. Just see if you can survive 5 more moves. That may have come from Daniel King too. I'm not sure. And you or your opponent could learn from the end game. Maybe they're not really good at mating with a rook and a king, or a queen and a king, or 2 bishops and a king. So they could learn from your end game. So that's just another reason to not resign or give up. Okay. So let's take a look at this game. This is a game that I played on chess.com. I'm going to load in chess.com right now. And this is the game here. I'm black. As you can see, my rating is 1107. One thing you should probably do at some point is take a look at your statistics just to keep track of how you're doing. Like my all-time statistics, I played 3,778 games. My daily right now is 1,163, but you can see how that's changed through time. I have, yes, hi, thanks, Mom. I have been low, down into the 900s. That's usually when I time out. And as high as what is the 1600? I think my all-time high was, 1727, because I may have a running streak when I'm in a lot of tournaments. I do play a lot of games. You can see I play over 200 games, which leads to, again, me timing out. So this is one thing you want to keep track of, is as you are watching the games. I'm going to lose some more. Look, I've got a minute on these games. I'm going to lose those right off the bat. But you can see just in the time that I've been with you, I've lost 3 on that I ran out of time. I should have checked my games before I started this recording. But you can see all the games I've lost on time. Do not let yourself do that. I've been super busy trying to prepare for this lecture, so that's one of the reasons why I've timed out. But take a look at your ratings and see what you can do. See if you can improve them. Some of the things I want to go through with this game here, you can see up here in the upper right-hand corner, this is on chess.com. I am a gold member on chess.com. I've been a gold member since like 2008. I love chess.com. I've paid for a membership since 2008. It took a couple of years off there, but recently I was gifted a premium membership, the top membership, where you can watch as many of the videos and trainings as you want. You can save games. You can run the analysis tool as much as you want. I love the top premium membership of chess.com. I think it's about $100 a year. That's a little bit out of my price range. As I just said before, I have a family and I need to be responsible to my family, so I can't really afford the top membership. I do pay, it's about $30 a year for the gold membership, which helps me with my analysis on my games. But if you can afford a premium membership, I highly recommend it. I wish I could have it, but I just can't spend the money. So anyway, like I said, I love chess.com. Our club is on chess.com, so make sure you join our club. if you're a guest, look us up. We're at Grand Rapids Community College, and we have 111, 117, somewhere in there, members in our club. Again, this video is primarily for our students, but if you're a guest, welcome. If you're a great player, please chime in and help me. I'm doing the best I can and could use any support, any help that you can help with. So let's kind of go through this game. I'm 1100 at this point. I'm playing a 1600 level player. So, and I'm black. So they lead with d4. I respond with d5. They are playing the Queen's Gambit. I'm not that versed in the Queen's Gambit, but I accept. So I play the Queen's Gambit accepted opening. They have 2 double pawns. As you can see, 2 double pawns here in the center of the board. I'm moving my e-pawn up, to e5. I wanted to put a little pressure on the d4 pawn, but they pushed forward. That's okay. I've seen that a lot of times. So I respond by putting c6 up, hoping to trade them off. They move their bishop to take my pawn on c4. I take the pawn on d5. They take with their queen. Now I trade queens and they trade, so the queens are off the board. Now, why did I do this? One of the things I just said that the advanced players are telling us is do not trade queens. Grandmasters don't trade queens, so we shouldn't trade queens. I apologize, Levy, if I'm misquoting you, or Eric, I can't remember. You guys are fantastic. Your programs are wonderful, but they always say don't trade queens. The reason I did is because I'm far lower in ranking than my opponent. I'm going into it, if they're a 1600 level player, I'm not anywhere near that. So I wanted to pull the queens off the board so that I can have a fighting chance against them. All right, I move out my knight to attack their bishop on d5 and the pawn. They move their knight out to defend. I take, they take. Then I move out my bishop to provide more support for the center. I wonder if a better move might have been, let's go back a move. I wonder if a better move would have been to take my bishop all the way out to, b4. They probably would have just replied with bishop to d2, but I don't know. So that's a possibility. I have not run this really in... although it does say up at the top what I should have done. Those 3 lines, as I said up here in the upper right, that's Stockfish telling me what I should have done. So I probably should have been paying attention. But still, over here on the bar, it's still saying we're still pretty even. Let's keep going. So I move my white bishop out to e6. They play bishop to d2. I castle. They move their pawn out to a3. I'm not sure why they did that. Sometimes I want to say maybe this comes from, who said it last? Maybe Simon Williams may have said, why do we do this a3? Or maybe it was Levy. Shoot, I wish I could remember which grandmaster, or in Levy's, I think he's an international master. I wish I could remember who says what, but somebody recently said, why are we moving these pawns on the edge of the board if we don't have to? Let's say I had maybe I had a knight that I wanted to put here. So maybe I would have gone here and then here, and maybe this pawn on a3 may be preventing me from doing that. I don't know. Again, maybe somebody far advanced would know better than me, but in my analysis, that's what I came up with. So I played f5. Let's go back. I played f5. I moved the f5 as a decoy. That's probably not the right word. Maybe I'm trying to remove the defender. Maybe that's a better way to say it. So I'm hoping that this piece, or this pawn right here, that white would attack my pawn on f5, therefore leaving their knight on d5 unguarded, and then I could have won a knight. So that's why I did that. Of course, I'm playing a 1600 level player, so they didn't fall for that. Silly me. So they move their knight back to c3. I take on e4. They take with their knight. I move my bishop back to e7 because my bishop was being attacked by the knight on e4. They castle. So now we're both, moving from the, well, in a future video, I talk about how the opening is anywhere from the first 10 to 12 moves. Now we're in move 15 and white finally castles. So we're both officially, if I'm understanding it correctly, into the middle game. I move my bishop up to d5. They bring their knight back out to c3, and my bishop takes. Oh, let's go back. So why did I trade? Remember, one of the things that we talked about was do not trade unless there's a good reason. Again, I'm trading to simplify the board because my opponent is 500 points above me. So that's why I traded. Again, simplify the board, and because he's so much higher than me. Knight takes. I bring out my knight. Finally, my rooks are connected. So you can see, oops, pardon me, stop. So my rooks are now connected. My opponent's rooks are also connected. Remember, that was one of the things that we said, there's no pieces in between them. So, so that's one of the things we definitely want to do. So I finally developed my last knight and connected the rooks. Next move was bishop to e3, knight to d4, then rook on a to c1. Now this is a blunder. Now, did you notice here on the level here, or I can't remember what this is called, but did you notice that it finally went way up in my favor? There's a tactic here that white didn't notice. When they moved their rook to c1, that provided a really good option for my knight to come in here and fork the king and the rook. So that's what I did. White's blunder then is setting me up for a beautiful fork with the knight. Next move, they have to move their king over to h1. That's the only move they have. I take the rook. Their rook takes mine. I'm at this point moving my rook to the open file, the open C file. They are blocking with the knight on c3. I move my b6 up because I don't know if you noticed, I had in the previous move, I had a hanging pawn, and their bishop could have grabbed that pawn. So that's why I moved my pawn up to protect that hanging pawn. They move g3. I move my bishop. I'm again trying to make the board have less pieces. So I'm trying to simplify the board at this point. They will not swap pieces with me. I move my king. Later I figured out, why did I do that? I was worried that in the previous position that their knight was going to fork my king and my rook. What I discovered after looking at it, I did not need to move my king here because the e7 square is covered by my bishop. So that was probably a wasted move, but I don't know, better to be safe than sorry. Just in case if maybe they swapped bishops beforehand. I don't know. I didn't really look too deep into that, but it may or may not have been a wasted move. Okay, where are we at? Okay, so finally he swaps bishops. He grabs my bishop. I take his bishop with my rook. Now I'm saying he should not have traded bishops because he is down in material. Remember, that was one of the things we talked about earlier in the lecture. So I'm thinking he probably shouldn't have done that. He again plays his knight to block me from taking his rook. I move my king back for protection. He moves his king up, which I'm assuming is for protection. I'm moving my rook over to the D file. This is something that I remember Maurice Ashley is a grandmaster. He's also a commentator for a lot of the chess tournaments that we see. I was watching a speed chess DVD, excuse me, that we had gotten from, I don't remember where we bought it, but anyway, it was a speed chess DVD, and he's like, look at those two rooks. They're like laser beams, or I took it like maybe they're like at Planet Hollywood. They have those big white lights that shine up into the sky. That's how they're acting right now. All right, let's keep going. He moves his rook to c2. He's probably anticipating me trying to put my rook on the second file. I'm now moving my pawns forward. I'm trying to gain space, but then I'm also trying to threaten his knight. He moves his rook over. I'm again gaining more space, trying to threaten his knight. He moves his rook down. I take advantage of that. I think that's a mistake. Stockfish thinks it's a mistake too, because as soon as he moved his rook to the e4 square, the sidebar went way in our favor. So I took advantage of that and put my rook here on the second rank, and I'll show you why that's important. He is attacking my b4 pawn, but I'm responding with pushing it forward so that I am now attacking his knight. So he really needs to move that out of the way, which he does. I gobble up one pawn on b2, excuse me. He's moving his rook back to provide support. Now I've got two rooks on the second file. That was what I was calling, or what we were calling, pigs on the 7th. In this case, it's the second rank because we're black. So now it's pigs on the second, and we're just going to gobble all these pawns up. He grabs my pawn. I'm grabbing a pawn. He's got to move his king out of there. So they did. I'm going to take another pawn, putting him in check. Moves his king again. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to simplify the board even further and swap pieces. He's not going to take. I'm trying to insist. He's not. Now my focus is, well, if he's not going to swap pieces, I'm going to try to get this pawn on b3 and drive it into b1 and make it a queen. Let's keep going. There's only a couple moves left. He moves his knight out of there. And I move my rook over, and he just gave up. It's a good game. What I think he was probably trying to do is move his king down here. I would have been mated, but because my rook is here, I would have taken his rook. So there's no way he would have back rank mated me, because this square is covered by the f7 squared is covered by the knight. So I hope you enjoyed my analysis of my game. It was fun. Like I said, I spent about 15 minutes. What I did is I looked at the game as an overview, and about 5 minutes went through the whole thing. And what I did at first is I went to this review tab in chess.com to see, how did I do in this game? What is the shape? This is the shape of the game, where who's in favor. And you can see at about this point, that's when it goes into our favor. As soon as he moves that rook over, where, remember, we did in this move, we forked his king and his rook. That's when the game just shifted into our favor, because that was a blunder, and that's what chess.com is saying, is that's a blunder. So how I read these, if you haven't looked at them before, again, I love chess.com. I love the analysis. I ran the analysis on this. It's telling me I had 0 missed wins. I had 0 blunders. Remember I said it's really difficult to try to, one of the goals us beginners need to do is try to avoid blunders in our games. I was surprised that this game went so well for me. For an advanced player, it probably isn't, but for me, I'm happy with how I did. 0 blunders, 0 big mistakes, some inaccuracies, a lot of book moves. I was surprised to see I got a great move. And some best moves and some excellent moves. So the overall scoring of this, I played 88.7% accuracy, which is pretty good. I would encourage all of you that when we play our tournaments online for our club, run your games with the analysis tool after you're all done. Run an analysis tool, see how you did, look for the blunders, look for the mistakes, and see where you can improve. And like I said, make sure you write notes in your games and review them. That's one great way to improve. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to the class that came in today. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. I'm new at trying to create content for our classes, so hopefully you got something out of it. And for those of you that are watching online, especially my club members, thank you for watching online. For those of you who are guests, thank you so much for watching as well. And I hope you have a wonderful day. If you like this, leave a comment or send me an email if you're in the club. Let me know that you want me to keep doing this. We're going to keep meeting on Thursdays. And I've got the next 2 lessons already done. This is the first lesson. I have the next 2 lessons done. We're also going to be looking at tactics like skewers and double attacks and forks, all kinds of great things. The next lesson we're going to be looking at are the 3 principles of chess, which are time, space, and material. So you don't want to miss that. And with each of the lessons that I have, I'll be going through a game that emphasizes the topics that we talk about. And the idea, again, is so that I can learn from you. I can learn from my research. Hopefully, if there's some of our more advanced players in our club online, please reach out to me and help me. As I said, I'm still somewhat a beginner, and I need help too. I'm the first to recognize it, and I'm transparent about my skill level. So, all right, I'm signing off. Have a great day. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.